Most people believe that creativity comes from having more ideas, more opportunities, more inspiration, more techniques. And yet the opposite is true. If there's one thing I've learned from years of working with creatives and artists all around the world, it's that creativity comes from having less. And in that lies a great lesson for how you can create the life that you want to live and achieve the things that you want to achieve. I've been working in the creative industries for most of my life, and I've had the great opportunity to work with so many talented and amazing creatives all around the world. And if there's one thing, one consistency that I've seen in each and every one of them, it's that they always strive for less. When they're creating, when they're in the moment, when they're in that zone, making art, they want less. Less noise, less stuff, less obligation. They want to narrow down and focus on the core essence of what matters to them in that moment. They're truly present. And because of that, they're able to see all of these opportunities to create these things we would never have thought of. Because creativity isn't an act of addition, it's actually an act of subtraction. And that small reframing can have fundamental impacts on how you approach your life, your work, your relationships. If you want to create something, it isn't always about adding more. It's sometimes about taking away. I think this idea that creativity comes from having more is based on the idea of you build something up from nothing. So you are adding more and more pieces to an object. You have a blank canvas and you add paint and layers onto that canvas. But it's actually about what you don't apply, what you leave off. There's a great quote that an artwork is never finished, it's always just abandoned. Because even though you're technically adding paint to a canvas, at some point you have to stop the addition and start to pull back so people can connect. And that's really important to remember, that creativity is actually about removing what doesn't belong. Removing that distraction, removing those things that are fighting for your attention. Already the world around us is geared to be working against us, to be trying to stop us from achieving the things that we want to achieve, from designing the lives that we want to design. So if you want to create that future for yourself, you can start by taking things away. And that act of removal is a true act of creativity. And you will find that as you go through your life and you look at the things that are in your life that you don't necessarily need anymore and you start to take them away, you'll free yourself up to do so many other things, to create the life that you want to live. It could be something simple like a habit that you have, a way of talking, a bad habit, a good habit. Things in your life that you no longer need can be taken away, and in the act of doing that, you create something new. That's a really powerful reframing device that you can use to create the life that you want to live. Remove things from your life. Have a bit of a spring clean. Go through and identify those things. There may not necessarily be anything wrong with them, but identify them. And if you can put them aside, put them aside. You'll find that the space that creates gives you so much more opportunity to build what you need. As I've said in previous videos, we live in a world today that's obsessed with having more, doing more, pushing yourself to the ultimate limit in the belief that that will actually get you what you want. But those people who are often really pushing themselves to achieve more, to get more, are often the ones I meet in my coaching work who are burning out, who are struggling, who are drowning. This constant quest for addition removes the ability for us to create. It removes the ability for us to really see the world around us, to see the opportunities to create great things. Not necessarily art. Create a great life, a great relationship. But if you're constantly pushing yourself to add more stuff, more tasks, more apps, more whatever, you remove that ability to create. You remove that ability to see. The most creative people I've ever met, the most creative people I've ever seen out in the world, always seem to be moving in the opposite direction, away from more, towards a state where they can actually see, they feel comfortable in the world that they've created around them. I remember when I worked on a project with Yohji Yamamoto and he was taking photos in his studio, Polaroids like this. And you would be expecting him to take photos of amazing works that he'd created. Yet the photos were very simple. They're photos of his whiteboard or his hat or his dog. The things that give him a sense of connection, not more. The things that really matter could be stripped down to some very simple, very small things. His hat, for instance. And this is in a room that was full of so many amazing clothes and so many amazing garments and history and photographs. There was so much other stuff in there. And yet, as the creative that he is, he was able to distill it back to what truly mattered. Those key things that allowed him to then create what he creates. Or have a look at these photos of the interior of the house of Rick Rubin. You can see from these images the amount of space, of emptiness, minimalism, to allow him to think, to allow him to see. It's similar in the house of the designer Rick Owens. A minimalist approach to a designer who you could describe as very out there, very avant-garde in their designs. And yet this space gives him what he needs to create. It's not about necessarily living a minimalist life. This is not what this video is about. It's about understanding that to truly create something, whether that's a work of art or a life, you need to give yourself space and you need to stop pushing yourself to add more things into your life. Because when we live a life of more, we feel overwhelmed. When we live a life of more, we can start to drift. When we live a life of more, we begin to look and not see the world around us, and we miss out on so many things, so many wonderful opportunities and experiences. I want you to truly experience life, to go through each and every day with the opportunity to see the wonder that's around you. Because when you do that, you're able to live life with meaning, with connection, and with passion. And you'll never ever regret a day in your life that you're living in that way. And yet I know that you're probably watching this video right now because you are regretting the way that you're living. And it could be because you've been pushing yourself to add more things, when the secret to creating the life that you want is about removing. I want to leave you with this final thought. I'll put it up on screen. Creativity isn't the act of creating more. It's the courage to subtract everything that isn't essential until what truly matters remains. It's okay to take things out of your life. In fact, it's necessary. If you know deep down that those things, those tasks, those objects, those jobs, those relationships aren't serving you, aren't allowing you to create the life that you want to live, then you need to remove them from your life. Because creativity is about removal, and you can't start that until they're gone. So have a think about it, reflect on it this week. Look through your life, think of those items that you can get rid of. Start with something small. I promise you the freedom you will start to feel will really change your perspective on the world, will help you to see things differently. I promise you. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, leave a like down below, and I'll see you in the next video.